Good morning, friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today is a big day. You have been with us as we have been building our potting shed, and today the concrete is being laid. Now, I know that concrete being poured may not seem all that exciting to you, but it is a huge milestone for this project and for Creekside, because once this concrete pad is poured into the building, then that means that we can move forward with this project and with growing Creekside. So you are going to join us for today as this whole process unfolds. Right now it's about 8:45 in the morning and we are waiting on the concrete trucks to arrive. It is a Monday morning after the holiday weekend, and so that is why we're getting started a little bit later, because everybody decided to pour concrete on Monday morning after the holiday. So we have our friends of MAK Floor Imaging. They are here getting ready and just preparing everything. Jerry is here and chit-chatting. So before the concrete trucks arrive, let's take a look and see what the space looks like before and what they have done to prepare for the concrete. Of course, we have this retaining wall here that is holding up the left front corner of the building, and they have laid down plastic just to go ahead and protect that, so that the concrete doesn't get splattered onto the walls. And then each of the posts, they too have been wrapped in concrete, listen to me, wrapped in plastic, so to protect those, again, do not get splattered. If you can see, and the sun is not being my friend this morning as we're sitting here filming, you will notice that there is a black line on the post. That is where the concrete will come up to. So the concrete will be that high on the post, and then it will have a slight slope and it will shed to the wall so that water drains away from the building. And they just got finished kind of coming through, compacting all of the soil here, of course, because we're blessed with red clay here in North Carolina, which makes a fantastic base for concrete. That is why we do not have to use rebar, and because we do not have the freeze-thaw effect that our colder friends have. And it is going to be inside, and it is not going to have massive equipment as far as like constantly on it and running back and forth. So where we are in North Carolina, we do not have to use rebar in our projects. So they came through, got it all stamped down, tamped down. You can see it has the compactor back there. And so now we are just waiting on the concrete trucks. They did go ahead, Jerry went ahead and got the conduit lines in, because this obviously is going to be a working building. And so you can see that he has got the PVC pipes coming in. So he has got the white pipe will be water, then there is one for air, and then there is one for electrical. And then of course all of that just runs out. Nothing is connected right now. This is simply just to get the conduit lines in here, because of course they'll be surrounded by concrete. And so those conduits allow the all the necessary utilities to be in here. And you will notice that they are nice and in line with the posts, because they will be hidden by the walls. And then I think I'm gonna grab Jerry here and let him kind of explain where everything is going to ultimately go as far as the utilities. All right, so I grabbed Jerry. Now he is not mic'd up. The man's gonna be moving and grooving today, so we're just going to, I'm gonna be quiet and let him talk and let the camera pick it up. All right, so I talked about the utilities and what those three conduit lines are for. Can you just kind of talk them through, like where it's gonna run, and give maybe more of an exact layout of the potting machine, since you're more familiar with that?
Yeah, well, we put a drain in this morning, kind of in the center of where the machine's going, so we have to have a drain for the water table. So you have to have, it's draining water off of where it's pouring down and in the back end of the conveyor. So there's two pipes that bring it, so we have to have some place. That's way over there. We can go over and look at it. But right here, we've got, I think this one's going to be power. here's going to be our air line, and then our water in the building. So the water and all that we're going to take. Power just be here in the middle. Will be a panel and everything for here, and then we'll run wire from the panel to our control panel on the other side, and then the air lines and water lines are going to go into the ceiling and go to where the machines need it. So we can walk up here. So kind of where there's a little bit of a white line right here left, which is the center. I think Jenny showed you the other day. So back there in the back is the drain, so it's draining that water off the table and out of the building right here. So that's how much concrete is going right there, and then that's going to sit just below the concrete.
Gotcha.
So today is just the pad inside, and then I think it's Wednesday that we'll do the sidewalks that come in and out back, and the pad on the back.
So explain, we haven't talked about this, so explain to them the little bit of a dilemma that we realized that we had as far as the post in this backside, and having to talk about this post.
Yeah, this post here, we sent it back to the potting machine people, to their CAD folks, you know. So the hopper on the back just happened with its conveyor lined up, and the conveyor lined up right in the middle of the post. So we had to shift the entire machine forward 3 feet just to give us room, so that conveyor comes through this space here, and then control panel right here. You'll have a door right there, big door here, and another small man door on the other side of that door.
So we're not going to have to cut the post?
No, we'll just move the machine. Which good, because we know it gave us room at the end. That if the conveyor really was backing up on that door, so it only gave you about a foot to walk around it. So it was really kind of good. Now we have, about 3 or 4 feet. 4 feet. Yeah, we have 4 feet around the back side now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're simply just going to wait for the concrete trucks to show up, and then the fun begins. friends, so truck number 2 is just kind of finishing up, and truck number 3 is off in the distance. The guys they're working hard. They are doing a great job. It's cooler today. It's not 101. It's the high today, I think, is, gosh, 95. So there you go. So they get a little bit of a break, and thank goodness that they are halfway under the shade in certain times. So at least there is that. So what they're doing, of course, is trucking in the concrete from the trucks on the fun little machine, bringing it in. I was talking to Gary, and he ordered 40 yards of concrete. He said it thinks it's going to take about 38 and a half loads. So like I said, this is truck number 2. As a side note, interesting point, our first 2 drivers were some ladies, and then I see this third truck, he's a fella. So just interesting side note. Look at that. So of course this is not the finished product, but this is where they have gotten it laid and then nice and smooth. I was talking to Jerry off camera, and he was telling me with the plastic wrap on the post, yes, it is to keep it clean, but it's also, once the concrete dries to a point, then they're going to take it off, of course, but this also prevents the concrete from adhering to the post, because the posts, of course, are going to shrink a little bit over time, possibly, expand. It all depends on the weather. It is wood, so it shrinks and expands. Even though this will be a climatized building, there still will be that happens. And so by not having the concrete actually adhered to the wood, it allows that concrete to breathe as well and gives a little buffer for the concrete. So that thought was really interesting. You can see really making sure they have the level, and they're constantly checking the level, making sure that everything is level inside, and then coming through and getting that apron at a nice angle so that the water will shed away from the building. I personally find pouring concrete quite fascinating and interesting, because it is a lot of science as far as, and mathematical calculations, of course, making sure that everything is level, that the slopes are correct and all that. There is a ton of teamwork that has to happen because these guys, of course, they are a well-oiled machine, very much like, a symphony or a band. They have to work in tandem with one another and communicate really well. And then, it is science and art all put together to create a lovely, lovely product. And even so, Mimi and Poppy were up here, my mama and daddy, and they were watching, and mama was like, this is a really big day for Creekside. It really is so exciting. And I was like, it truly is, because this is just the next step in the growth of Creekside. And it is so fun to watch all of this happen and take place, because one piece at a time, my friends, right? You build something one piece at a time, whether it is your garden or your business or your life or your relationship, one step at a time. And this is a big step today. All right, my friends, so a little progress update here. They have got 40 yards of concrete has been poured. We're waiting on an additional 5 because, as you may see, we still have a hole in the back right corner. I was talking to Gary, and he had ordered 40, but we think what happened is that far front corner, because it has that little slope with the wall right there, it ate up more concrete than what we anticipated. He was like, but that's really good because the concrete's a lot thicker on that corner. So that is excellent. So what the guys are doing right now is just doing all of that finish work, right? So the front of the building, of course, has that apron on it. And so they are working on making sure that that slope is at an appropriate angle. And then the big opening here, so it's the second opening from the end, that is where the large like roll-up garage door is going to be. So they extended that slope a little bit into the building, so when the doors open, if anything happens to, if it's raining or whatever, it'll just flow right out. So they're just kind of coming through. It is hard enough in the first corner that they started that they can walk on it, and then they were starting to go ahead and brush it so that way they can get any of the lines out and kind of have everything nice and settled and get a little bit of a rougher finish on it. But you can see that this is nice and hard, so you don't want to have, of course, the lines in it and then coming through with I don't even know what this is called. That is not my area of expertise. So go ahead and brushing it. And then I don't know if you can see the green box is about right there. That is the drain. Also, they have in the areas that have gotten some good stability to them, they have gone through and put in the bolts. So the bolts, what happens is that they go elbow side down, and you'll notice that they have a mark on them, so that is where it's level with the concrete. That way, when we put in and those quote baseboards for the wood, right, to build the walls, that's what it anchors into. So it gives something for that wood to attach to, drill the holes, slide the board on top of it, and then there you go, ties it all in there together. So we're just waiting on that other 5 yards of concrete to finish it up. They're bringing in another spinny guy and they're gonna work on that. All right, my friends, obviously it is the next day. Our friends from MAK, they were here till like at least 8:30 last night getting that concrete pad finished up. So we are here the next morning, and they are back also framing out the sidewalks, the little, all the other stuff than the pads. Let me just show you what the final product looks like right now. Everything is in. Obviously at this point you can go ahead and walk on it, but you can't have any kind of heavy machinery on it at all. So you can see that they have done a great job. They have gone through and they went ahead and cut the lines in the concrete. Of course, this is for any kind of expansion, that kind of thing. So those are all have been cut in, because the last thing, of course, you want is the concrete to crack. The bolts are in, so that way we can go ahead and start framing the walls once the roof is on. There is a lovely slope away from the building. I don't know if the camera will pick up on that, but you can see how it comes just perfectly flush with the wall. So MAK did an amazing job. Our friends at Lawn Impressions did an amazing job building the wall. Everybody got their measurements accurate, and it just looks fantastic. That way water will come off and then just shed away from the building. And then I don't know if it'll pick up on this, but yesterday I had to go ahead and put in the month and the year. So 7/26. My daddy, every time he built something on the farm, he would always mark the concrete. So there you go. We have got that in there as well. Of course, all the forms have been taken off, and they're working hard right now. So just to kind of give you a final glance of the concrete, my friends, there we go. Nice, smooth, lines cut. Boom, there you go. And then look at this. They have got, of course, the drain. Look at that. That is just a thing of beauty, my friends. Absolutely perfectly done. Love it. This is for the water coming off of the potting machine, because like we've talked about before, that the machine will have like a water station, so that is where the water will go. And then as you can see, it comes straight out, nice slick PVC pipe, and the water will go out from there. I'm sure it's going to continue to go somewhere else, but at least it's got it out. And so they are good to go as far as putting any kind of concrete or framing on top of that if it needs to be done. Honestly, I'm not sure. They have got their lines up. So what they're working on now is this will be the concrete pad for the hopper. So the hopper will be back here. So they are doing that. And then they have already done the framing for the front sidewalk, I guess you shall say. And so this will be, of course, connects everything. So you can see nice big sidewalk. And if we need to drive any kind of machinery in there, we'll have plenty of room to go in there. That door will be like a garage style door, so it'll come way open. So we'll have lots of clearance in there. But yeah, there you go, my friends. It is all done. And so the next step, once the concrete, because they will come back tomorrow and pour these sidewalks, these little outer pieces. So they've got this one to pour, the pad for the hopper that they're working on right now. And then down here, so this middle bay right here on the sidewall, so that middle bay will be another garage style door that comes open all the way, and then they're going to frame a nice big wide sidewalk from the building all the way down to the existing concrete. All ties in together, so that way we can just zoom everybody in. So all of the buildings have been or will be connected with concrete sidewalks. Makes all the walking easier, and it makes the moving of the plants a lot easier as well. So a big huge thank you to our friends at MAK Floor Imaging. Done a fantastic job, and they'll be back again tomorrow, like I said, to pour this concrete. Then they will be out of here. Then we can have free clearance to get the roof on. So the roof is next, and then start building out the sidewalls. There you go. All right, my friends, as always, we hope you found it fun, informative, inspirational. Just yet another step of Creekside growing, one step closer to this building getting done. Y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.